right, let's make sure I'm sharing the right thing. So I am hoping you're seeing a PowerPoint with a little picture of me on it. So other than that, I don't know what I'm sharing. Is that what you can see? Yes. Okay. So I'm teacher, athrawes a dwi wedi bod yn dysgu yn Ysgol Babanod Bedwas ers 1997. I completed Cymraeg mewn blwyddyn in 2020-21, the COVID year. Spent about 10 days in uni, the rest in the bedroom, but learned so much and was very keen to come back and put the Welsh to use. Coming back to school, I was teaching PPA, covering Welsh for all the classes, and did that for 2 years, where I focused on trying to get Welsh across the curriculum. And at this moment in time, I'm currently in a year 1 class. So this is just a quick little thing to show you sort of how I've been doing it. I got top 5 tips for you all. My first, I'm going to just run through them quick and then show you a little bit more as I go along. So my first top tip, I think, would be to use the patterns in as many ways and situations, areas of learning as you possibly can. And when you get down to it, it is much easier than you think. Make it fun, so playing the games to practice, reinforce the language and the patterns. Make it meaningful and relevant, so make use of any topics, themes, dates, events. Don't worry about the vocabulary, focus on the pattern, even the Welsh speakers, throw in English words. And if you know it in Welsh, say it in Welsh, because it very does quickly come naturally to everybody. So at the moment, we are concentrating on the fans that are in the EAS pack, and there's a pack of fans per year group. Nursery is Coch, Reception, Melyn, Year 1 Glass, Year 2 Gwyrdd. And what we've done then in staff meetings, I have given them a copy of the patterns and given the examples of how you could use it. The vocab, I mean, contained within it. And then we've had a little chat of how you can use it in your topic. So for instance, this is one of the year 2 meetings that I had with the class teacher. Her topic was the village Bedwas, and we just had a little chat about how she could use some of the language patterns in the topic of Bedwas. So Mawr Bach, you can see there, exploring the sizes of buildings, doors, windows. Harshaps, the shapes in the environment as you go out and about, looking at windows, drains, anything. Pwy beer, we put down for objects belonging to people in the community. So looking at the jobs people do, roles. Oitin hoffi, exploring likes and dislikes of different places. As you can see, fainted at oed, the ages of people, keeping a daily weather record. Beth oitin hoffi, we looked at our school initially and starting with the class, how you could improve the class, what did you like about the class, the yard, the hall, you know, extended it through the school, and then like places in the village, and beth dwyt them and hoffi. Beth wyt ti'n wisgo, just quick examples there, looking at the clothing of people and their jobs in the community, the clothing of the miners. So yeah, just Christmas time then, obviously, nativity coming up. So that's one way we've tried using it, and I'm trying to give the teachers ownership, because for 2 years I've been doing it, and now I'm trying to kind of step back. I've done lots of sessions training the staff, and I'm trying to give them the confidence to have a little go themselves. So that's one way I work with one of the teachers. This is another way one of the teachers wanted me to do. So we looked at the patterns. As you can see, there's the nursery patterns, reception and year 1. So they're consolidating earlier patterns. And we just jotted down some ideas of how they could use it. Their topic was Caboo's Diary and Jerry's Story. That was their theme. So just some very quick ideas there. I'm not going to go too much on this now. If anybody wants copies of it, I can send something out to them. I want to get onto things I've actually done that you can see the children using Welsh across the curriculum, or how we've used it. This was another way of doing it though, a mind map. Again, there's the topic Caboo's Diary, Jerry's Story, where you try to think of the language patterns and how you could use them in each area of the learning. So we've tried the 3 types, and At the minute, it's whatever works best for the teacher. As long as they're using the Welsh, I'm more than happy with that. So making it fun, playing games. Susie already said about word wall. Word wall is worth its weight in gold, you know, worth every penny that you spend on it. I use it to definitely drill vocabulary to the children. You can use it to introduce words. You can also use it to sequence sentences as they get more familiar and move through it. So there's just a couple of the games you can see. Some of the word walls where they actually spin it and they repeat the word. Others are putting the words in the right order, what's in the box. The children are so, well, just motivated and engaged in this way. So word wall is definitely something that you can use to get a lot of drilling vocabulary and sentence patterns. With the word wall, what you can do as well is make QR codes. So with the resources I've made and the different patterns, you've got the games, I'll export, I suppose, the QR code, and then the children can access those with the iPads and they can practice at other times of the day during continuous enhanced provision time. And you can use any pattern with that again. So there's just a couple you can see there, Faint did oedi with the ages, colours, Parlew, Blair Routine Boo, Pets, Anifel Einwest, and Births in Boards at the doctors. So moving on then, Cahoots. This is another great resource, and the children get so competitive on this, and it really engages them. Again, you can see some of my year 2 children there accessing, getting the QR code with the iPads. But it engages them so much, and you can check the comprehension with it. You can introduce vocabulary. You can check translation. So just there, you can see some of the things have been through the use of pets, Paranifel, and that's just the vocab. I have used Poyoti with the animal names and checking they've got the correct pet's name there. Also used it to reinforce when we were talking about the beach and different activities with beth wyt ti'n wneud. So dwi'n nofio, is that true or false? And then beth wyt ti'n wisgo. We've done a lot of royal clothing between the Queen's, what was it, Diamond? Whatever Jubilee she had, and then the coronation of King Charles. So I've utilised that with beth wyt ti'n wisgo. Other games that the children love playing. It does take time to make, but once you've got them, you've got them. Dwi'n clywed, dwi'n dweud. They can work in partners or in a team. Put your desired vocabulary or your sentences on there, and say team A would start, they'd say something, and team B would be listening. When they hear it, they say the word or phrase or sentence that is adjoining or matching up to what they've heard, and it repeats. Cycle continues until everybody's said everything that they've heard. Very, very good way, and again, motivating way to drill vocabulary and patterns. Other games, battleships, use that in any kind of patterns as well. So just some quick examples for you there. And guess who, sentence stealers, find someone the same, game of detective, all quite similar kind of concepts where the children are having ample opportunity to practice asking the question and answering it. So as you can see here, one of the topics was a seaside theme, or Tiaishai, and they were buying things from the seaside shop, trying to draw vocabulary there. Pets with oes cathcad tea. Again, linked with the seaside, we were describing the pirates' clothing from a book they were reading. And then the year 2s when they were talking about the village ASE, so where they went around the village. Another great way that I use to drill vocab, making it fun, is web cards, where I make these up for different topics and themes. This is one we did with pets. They'd be working with the partner. The one person would ask the question, and the other person would answer the question with what was on their card. Again, children very engaged, and it's giving them a chance to practice reading, speaking, listening. There's so many skills you can cover in those kinds of activities. What else have I got? Last Man Standing, as Susie said. Oh my goodness, it's a favourite. They absolutely love it. Again, get so competitive. Use it with any pattern. So you can see there, the one topic was the sea. Well, there's two there were from the seaside, three actually, with the pirates clothing and Beth wyt ti eisiau and Beth wyt ti'n wneud, dwi'n nofio. For me, I use those on the whiteboards. The children have that displayed. I read through them all. They read them together with me, and then they choose one and they write it on their individual whiteboard. I will then read the sentences in turn, and as they hear it, they sit down. Last Man Standing is the one who's won, and we also love having a bit of Elvis with Who's Still Standing. They love that. Just making it fun and motivating them. Bingo Torri Allan is another game we use a lot of, drilling different things. Vocabulary, it can be odd words, it can be sentences. The aim of this is the children listening to the vocabulary. You might have flashcards of them or on the whiteboard, and you keep saying it over and over again, and the children are listening out for whatever is on the right hand of their sheet. And in the normal game of bingo, once they've heard the vocab once, it's kind of done and dusted. But with Bingo Torri Allan, it keeps repeating and repeating, because once they've cut off the one they've heard on their strip at the right-hand side, they have to start listening all over again for the next one that's on the right-hand side. And I love a song, so I also sing with this. Always cut from the right side of the sheet with the Life of Brian. Always cut from the right side of the sheet. If you don't, you will be a cheat. And they love it. Very competitive, but it's such a good way of them having the vocabulary model correctly and just reinforcing that they're hearing it repeated. Noughts and crosses, another great go-to for us. You can use it again on an interactive whiteboard, or if you don't have your computer working, just use your normal whiteboard, draw out the sets of squares. The children don't realise how much they're learning during this. They focus more on getting their noughts or their crosses in the grid, and are they going to win? And they don't actually realise as they're doing that, they are reading sentences or targeted vocabulary at the same time. So just a quick example there of us playing noughts and crosses. And that's the noughts and crosses kind of grid I'd use. So I use this with the coronation of King Charles. So yeah, they read the sentences. If they get it right, they can put their note or their cross in the box. So that's very, very whistle-stop tour on some of the games I use. Sorry, I'm rushing through, but it's just to give you some syniadau, some ideas. So making it fun. Another thing I do a lot of, I haven't got it on there, is singing. For instance, with the Blair Writing Bill, we've done a song to the tune of Daisy Daisy. So it's Blair Writing Bill, dwi'n byw mewn tŷ teras, dwi'n byw mewn tŷ semi, and it's just drilling vocabulary, singing. They love it. I will make a song up about anything, but I haven't got those copies to show you at the minute. But yeah, singing, making it fun as well. What I do want to go on to now is showing you how I used it, making it meaningful and relevant. So here's some quick examples of things that I've done over the last 2-3 years. This happens throughout the school. It's our, what would you call it, self-registrating dinner board choices kind of thing. Every class has this. It's on an A4 file, and you just turn the pages over each day. There's their names then on little discs, and the children come in, and one of the helper heddiw stands there, and it's their job each day, beth wyt ti eisiau. Initially, they start off just putting their name under whichever choice, so cinio glas or cinio melyn, brechdannau. We do encourage them, and definitely by year 1, year 2, they're saying, dwi eisiau cinio glas, dwi eisiau cinio melyn. So that's a consistent thing, right from reception to year 1, same pictures, same everything. And then the helper heddiw asks each child, starts with an adult in the reception class doing that, obviously modelling. So that's making a meaningful way of including the pattern beth wyt ti eisiau. again, there's my quick showing you all the options. It's the 3-week cycle every day. It's reinforcing the days of the week. Week 1 as well, week 2, week 3, and beth wyt ti eisiau. So that's how I use it for dinners. Sut wyt ti? We do a check-in. At the minute, we're focusing more on the English kind of feelings. This is in our zones of regulation check-in. So this is like, we've got different colour zones to represent how you're feeling. So we say sut wyt ti, and they'll say glass, gwyrdd, melyn, coch, and we will eventually move on to then using the Welsh phrases. But obviously in the zones of regulation, there are far more English phrases there than we use the Welsh for. So we start off so they've got a good understanding of the feelings in English first, and then we will move that over to dwi'n drist, dwi'n hapus, dwi'n gyffrous. Like I said, the coronation, then I will try and make use of any moment that's coming up. So this was a talking time, like a daily oracy 10-minute kind of activity. These were on the whiteboard, and they just had to give almost as many sentences as they could to describe King Charles in the picture. We've done quite a bit of some of the games, like I showed you, bingo torri allan or last man standing, to reinforce some of the vocab, the word wall, and then this kind of carried on over a week, fortnight, how many phrases they could come up with to describe what King Charles was wearing. So there you can see a better copy of it. When the Queen had her whichever Jubilee it was, and unfortunately she passed away, and I'd made so many resources about the Queen and the royal family, and then they're all a bit out of date, but never mind. I'd made some books about the Queen using sentence patterns from the EAS sentence, the schemes, so Dan. And then this is a year 1 class. I asked Tacitine, Brynhennes, Elizabeth, beth wyt ti'n wisgo? And after playing lots of the games, and they have sentence builders to help them as well. So dwi'n gwisgo necklace, dwi'n gwisgo ffrog briodas, dwi'n gwisgo coron. So just some examples. You can see we use the Queen's coronation for that. The year 2s, they were learning quite a bit about Borneo in the spring or summer term, I think it was. So I made this little book. I do make quite a lot of little books myself, trying to use the patterns in relevant context for them. So this was all about orangutans. So you can see it's on PowerPoint, but I do sort of print it out for the children. So that's an example of all the slides that are in it. So it's using their patterns dwi'n byw yn Borneo, dwi'n byw yn Sumatra, the parts of the body, describing my gwallt coch gyda fi, yr wyneb, my breichiau hyd y fi, dwi'n byw yn uchel, mewn coed, yn y goedwig law, dwi wedi blino, dwi'n cysgu yn y nithodd. So just some examples there. They are actually using their Welsh to learn about the orangutans, and this is some of the work that we followed up with from that. So one of the art activities was painting their own orangutan. As you can see in the top left-hand corner there, there's 2 examples of their work. And then I took pictures of everything, and we did a little bit of sort of peer assessment on each other's work. So beth wyt ti'n hoffi am y llun? What do you like about the picture? And then they had to write a statement about what they liked about that person's picture. Dwi'n hoffi lliwiau, dwi'n hoffi orangutan. As you can see there, we've done parts of the body with bits in board and us as humans. So why can't we use that to label the animals? And you can see one of the little girls has gone off, and we'd gone through the parts of the body, and my gyda fi. So she has described her orangutan using as many sentences as she could. What else have we done? Oh, this was sentence. Oh, there we go. Sentence builders we'd used this again. So beth wyt ti'n hoffi? Dwi'n hoffi. And then they'd researched in English the kind of foods that the orangutans were eating. And then we researched what the Welsh words would be and made this together. And then they would use that to practice their speaking in their oracy 10 minutes, or they could write about it in the writing area. that was the kind of thing we used to peer assess each other's work. So beth wyt ti'n hoffi am y llun. And this was a little mind map that they did in Welsh about Borneo. So facts that they found out in English, then they were asking me what things were in Welsh. I'm not going to stop them learning anything. So they tried to do their little sentences. My Borneo ydi ynys, it's an island. My Borneo in Asia. I can't actually read all of that right now. No, I don't. I can't read all of it right now, but you get the idea. They are using it to describe Borneo. Ble wyt ti'n byw? So they were the different kinds of answers they could give to describe where the orangutans live. Beth wyt ti'n wneud? So that was different actions after researching in English. And again, all this is after they've done things in English. They're securing the English facts, and then we look at the Welsh vocab, practice the vocab, and then use it in the sentence patterns. This one we did following a school trip to, what's it called? Mountain Ranch, Caerphilly. So we tried to do a kind of Pike Corbett story map from it. So we had the map, started off with our story mountain using the patterns Bleris T, and then some of the kinds of examples that they might give. So AC in Mountain View Ranch, AC ar y bus, AC gyda ffrindiau ysgol, AC ddydd Iau. So that was when they went. Then beth welais ti, we went through the different things that they could see. Sut oedd y tywydd, how was the weather? And then the last part of the section was sut oedd the drip, how was the trip? And I'm hoping, yeah, that was one then we did on the whiteboard all together, and the children were chanting the recount of their school trip to Mountain View Ranch. They also, I think, similar kind of concept, they went to visit their junior school, because our junior school is on a separate site. So they wrote about their visit to the junior school. Again, they've got English words in there, which I'm not bothered about. I wanted them more to be concentrating on using the patterns. So when I see yard, that's fine with me. Because there's a water fountain there. I don't know if you can make that out. Well, I see water fountain, but they're using their English sounds, but they're concentrating on the patterns AC and GWLIC. We've also used the beth wyt ti'n wneud in our maths lessons when we've looked at the times of the day, and then sequencing and what do you do at those times of the day. So there's no reason why you can't bring it into your maths. This was an activity I did with the Year 2 class. I was asked to cover at very short notice because the staff member was off ill, and it was around about the anniversary of the Titanic. So I gave them a sheet of paper with all English facts on about the Titanic, and they had 7 questions in Welsh, which they were reading and answering. Now, some of the answers are in English, but what I found amazing was they were able to sort of translanguage the information from their English, take a Welsh question. You can see some of them, they've tried to answer it in the Welsh between 24 oed, 24 oed. Other things, they've just totally read the Welsh question and answered in English. So that was covering our history. We've used our Welsh in our dance lessons. So after doing the Jackador, the folk dancing, we sequenced the steps and we read it, sequenced it, said it. Moving on to this week, actually learning about Diwali. This is with my Year 1 class. We watched my first Diwali, and then the children have used the fans to answer the questions about Dia and her Diwali. So Dia ydw I, dwi'n 7 oed, ble wyt ti'n byw gyda mam, beth wyt ti'n wisgo, and dwi'n gwisgo blouse and sari. So these are very quick, simple things I've done with the children. Other things, recycling, braidelgylchu. Also, one of the topics was the garden and birds. So Palu a deer and the birds from the garden, they're getting to practice their colours. Discussing artwork. One of the with the space topic, they had 7 different art things they were looking at and doing hoffi fflin, and we went on to expand what beth wyt ti'n hoffi and pa liw ydi. It's just ways that you can bring it into your art lessons, and map of Bedwas using the coordinates and the different buildings around Bedwas. So I'm sorry, this is a very quick, I'm just trying to give you as many ideas as that you could try and use in your infants, because these are all infant children. Again, we've used it discussing Ysgol Victoria and Ysgol Nawr, beth wyt ti'n wneud, using the patterns. There's no reason why you can't use it to talk about history. We've done quite a bit with beth wyt ti'n wneud, talking about plants and how they grow. Ble wyt ti'n byw, bar charts in their maths. Pwy wyt ti for the life cycle of the caterpillar. Labelling the parts of the body. Going through the parts today, one of the little books I made. Susan Rees, the pit girl, I'd also translated some of those into the simple Welsh patterns that they've used. So we read that together as a class. That's all my slides there. This was the sentence builders that we'd come to after quite a bit of work, and then they had to fill in the blanks. So we did it orally and then writing as well. So just some quick examples, and last of all, I think, is the one I did with Guy Fawkes, where we used the same sort of patterns to talk about the story of Guy Fawkes, with just some questions there at the end. So like, James ydw I, dwi'n byw yn Lundain, dydw I ddim yn hoffi Catholics. You can see it goes through the story quite simply in simple patterns that they should be able to understand, and then questions at the end. So yeah, that's very quick. Whistle stop. I could go more, but there's not enough time. So hope that's useful, some ideas of how we've tried to use it across the curriculum.